Okay, so our first storyteller spends her days, her living, helping other people tell their stories. If you were here at the Hot Mess show, then you heard the first part of her story. Yeah, I know. So we are so lucky to have Cathlene return to the stage to tell a story that probably everyone in Switzerland can relate to. So please help me welcome Cathlene.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna do without this. How are you all doing? I am considerably less nervous this time than last time, thanks to those of you who were here the first time. I am so glad that we could have this experience together. To those of you who were also here before, I did briefly mention that I was looking for a job last time. What I may not have mentioned is that I had a job interview the same week that I had my last experience on this stage. Wow. And I happened to land that job. So if there's anyone here who might be, as I called it last time, looking for your next opportunity, might I interest you in a turn on this stage? There's a good track record. It's a sign. So, those of you who were here last time might have recalled I spoke for a decent amount of time. Don't worry, I'm going to speak for less time this time. Because the story I want to tell you is not my life story this time, but it is going to involve someone else's life story. The story I want to share with you is... No, I'm not going to give it a title. We're just going to dive in. Imagine with me, picture with me, a hot, steamy July afternoon here in this glorious town of Lausanne. So basically the opposite of what we've been having lately. July, yeah? The kind of July evening in which you can everything that's happened that day, you'll know it happened because you can still kind of smell it in the air. So, maybe not your favorite moment in July. I remember taking a forest walk after this really long day because I needed a break. I needed to find some shade, and I needed to smell the pine trees in my nose. And on my way back, I came across someone who instantly made my blood turn ice cold. Standing across from me, a few yards away, was a short-statured Greek woman who, every time I'd see her, her hair would be a different color. And this time, her hair was this shade of ice blue, kind of like the temperature that my blood felt. I saw this woman and thought to myself, what do I do now? I have to face her. There's only one way to get to my building, and I have to face her. But before I tell you what happened, I want to take us back to why. Why am I feeling these feels in the face of this short-statured Greek woman? So I had just completed. Who completes anything in life? I had just walked away from a really painful chapter in my life, and I'd moved into my first ever home where I truly felt like myself. And part of building up a new home, it's about figuring things out. So much of life, of this new chapter in life, is about figuring the context and the circumstances out. So I was doing that all the time, every day. And just as I thought I kind of had some stability, COVID happened, and the rug came pulled out from all of us. Yeah, I liked that rug. I really would have preferred that they didn't pull it. So here I was, above this neighbor, still figuring my things out, but spending a considerable amount more time indoors. And I remember this one day where my kids were like, "Mama, we want to go outside and play water guns." And I said, "I like the water guns part, but I'm not so sure about the outside part because social distancing is the thing we're supposed to be doing." So they said, "It's fine, we have a solution. We want to go on the balcony." I was like, "This is a great idea. Go, have some fun on the balcony with your water guns." And all was well. They're having a great time outside, shooting each other, shooting the windows, free window washing. I'm inside having, right, I'm sure there are parents here in the audience, having a gloriously quiet moment to myself, especially in COVID. That was a rare thing. Until I hear what I think was cursing in Greek, followed by, my laundry, in French. And I come over and I'm just like, "Guys, I don't know what's happening, but let's put the water guns away." And then I peer over the balcony, and here's this woman looking up at me and saying, "Did you see what they did? Their water just went straight onto my laundry. Can you not see how clean it is?" We are in Switzerland after all, and there's a lot of pride in one's cleanliness. Fast forward a couple of months, we successfully make it out of COVID. And, we're still here, we want to celebrate, we want to bridge the divide that we'd experienced for way too long. And I said, no, what better way to do that for the kids than to have a birthday party? And what better way to really enjoy each other's company than to invite 14 kids to a not ground floor apartment? But I thought ahead. I'm well prepared. I didn't let them stay inside the whole time. I did take them to a playground, and they had a lovely time. I'm walking them back like a shepherd herding all these forth. They all came back, and however, this part of the fairy tale I hadn't factored in, because standing like a troll guarding the bridge was this woman. And the look on her face told me everything I needed to know. She was not amused by this situation. I learned over time, right? I learned to kind of bring her chocolate, say my little sorries here and there, but mostly I tried to avoid her, right? And I found ways to avoid her. So our building has a series of tunnels and elevators, and I found all of them to be able to coordinate. And if I go out on my these echoey stairwells, right? You could hear some things. And boy, did I recognize her voice after not very long. So if I heard her, we just kind of go around this way, take the elevator down, go out here, make it to the parking lot, and I'm home clear. These are great strategies to have, right? When you're too scared to face someone. I'd face her sometimes, I'd escape her others, and in between, I would catch myself laying there at night, drafting up these arguments. Someone understands. So glad I'm not alone. Drafting up these long, very descriptive, very animated explanations. Let's call them that. Let's call them explanations of why she simply didn't understand. And they'd sound something like, "You don't understand. I'm a single mom. You don't understand. You haven't the slightest idea what I've been through. You don't understand. I've been treated badly enough for a lifetime, and I don't want to deal with you not thinking that I'm good enough, not thinking that my very steps upon the floor and the very breath that I breathe is somehow not good enough for you." I'd hear myself writing these stories. That's kind of what they are, right? Stories involve dialogue. And here I was writing my very own in my head. and never anywhere else. And what happens when we don't express our stories? They take up a lot of space. Whether they actually happened or not, we've all got stories we tell about ourselves to ourselves, about ourselves to each other to each other, and about each other to ourselves, right? And well, I think Shrek said it best, that better out than in. So, but there's one more little backstory I want to tell you before we jump back to that stinky July, and it's about when I started having a garden on my balcony. So I was really excited. I was telling my partner, like, we've got space, and I'm gonna grow tomatoes because anyone in this audience who has ever grown their own garden tomato knows those are gifts from the gods. Don't talk to me about grocery store tomatoes, even the organic ones. Yeah, okay, the marché can compete, but my tomatoes are something else, right? There's a sense of love. You pour love into those things, right? And so I'm finding ways to water and get a hose and attach to my kitchen sink, and I bring it over and I water them and all these things. And however, as you may recall, water exiting my balcony can be a complicated situation. So here's how I figured it out. I decided I'm just gonna wake up before she does and water all the tomatoes and everyone, so everyone gets what they need when possible. Although I'm sure many of us can understand that you can't always get up at 7 or 6 or super early in the morning because life's all kinds of reasons why that might occur. And I remember one such night one such day where I didn't manage to water that garden, and I said to myself, okay, no problem. It's really hot, but okay, we're gonna find a solution. Cool. I'm just gonna wait until she falls asleep. However, that day she'd invited some friends onto her terrace, and there she is, come over on my balcony, like, hearing murmur. Oh my God, okay. Coming back at 11 p.m. No, okay. Really wanted to sleep. Keep coming back. It's like that sacred time when the kids have fallen asleep and you just want to do whatever you want. And some days it's like revenge scrolling, or some days might be a more noble venture. I don't recall. I was too tired. But I wanted to do other things than wait to water my tomatoes. Eventually, I think we're pushing midnight, and I say to myself, I think they're gone. I think it's okay. So, get my hose, bring it over, start watering. I'm like, this is great. The gifts from the gods will prevail. And then I hear, oh my, like, is it raining? And the blood just no, because I'm like a water gun. Once you put something into a planter, there is no reverse button. There's no putting that back in the house. No, it's done. The water, it's running. And there are some things in life that once you let them begin, they're not going to stop until they're done. Yes? So let's go back to that hot, stinky July evening. I remember it being really stinky because I'm passing by these compost bins. I'm trying not to look inside. If you know, you know. And then heading there, seeing this woman who, every day I'd see her, it would be a different hair color. Sometimes it would be like code red, or like salmon pink, or like this lime green. Just like so many colors. I assure you I wear them better. By the way, this is my old wedding dress. I forgot to mention that before. But tonight seemed like a good event to recycle my old wedding dress. Yes. Feels worth mentioning, thank you. It was a good time. It was a good birthday present to myself. Like, dig her out, paint her up, Oh, it's more fun. Thank you for holding space for my dress. I appreciate it. So, Stinky July. I see this woman, her ice blue hair. I'm not having it. However, all these tunnels that I told you about, they're closed because guess what? It's Sunday. It's no, dimanche. It's the tunnels. Yeah, they close those things on Sundays. So, those are maybe some of you know the children's book. It goes, can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it. And voila, we gotta go through it. And so there she is, and there I am, and I approach her. I'm thinking to myself, what do I do? Do I want to like do the phone thing where you like, you know, avoid each other until we don't know how to socialize anymore? Or do I pull out one of those stories that I'd rehearsed in those like really angry moments before bed? Or what shall I do? Thankfully, by this point in my life, I had matured a little bit. And even though I was scared, I was starting to be able to recognize that the stories we tell may or may not always be true. Did I think that in the moment? Probably not. But I'd done enough work with myself and with the people I serve and the work that I do to know that stories get to be something we approach with curiosity when possible. It's not always possible, but we try. So here she is, here I am. And she's holding this black garbage bag. Well, I'm still here, so obviously it wasn't for me. But, and I don't ask her what's in it because maybe I don't need to know. However, she tells me, she says, Cathlene, don't tell anyone, but I'm taking my compost out in a non-tax friendly garbage bag. Don't tell anyone. So, admittedly, there's a part of me, gosh, Switzerland. So, there is a part of me that goes, I can blackmail her. It's small, but it's something. And then she says, before I can think too much of this, she continues, and she says, also, by the way, I'm going to be having my 80th birthday party this coming Sunday. So I know you like to water your tomatoes, but if you can manage, could you do it in the morning, please? I said, you know what, I think I can. I'll make sure of it. You know, you told me Sunday, I'll make sure I do it. Thank you. And I say to her, gosh, 80 years. 80 years is a lot of living. She said, yeah, I'll be having my family over. And I said, will you be telling some stories of your life? Because I'm sure there's a lot to tell. And then she gets this far off look in her eye. She looks a little bit away from me and says, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I said, why? I don't think that they're interested. And so here we find me at a crossroads once again, because I have a choice. I can do the thing that another version of me would probably have loved to have taken advantage of the situation and do, and run, but also like disengage, yeah? I'm a nice person, people know me to be a nice person, but you don't always want to be nice all the time. Sometimes you just want to be left alone. And then on the other side was the fact that I have this professional track record of listening to and actually stewarding people's stories, especially people in challenging contexts, from migration, refugee experience, to domestic violence, different situations. I support them in helping their stories get out in the world and come from a place of their own power and their sense of, I want to tell this story. So, do I go for that selfish instinct, or do I continue my professional track record. And I don't know what would have happened if I picked the first, but all I know is I picked the second that day, and I said, well, your story, madame, your story deserves, this is all happening in French, it deserves to be heard by someone. All of us, all of our stories, if we so choose, because we don't owe anyone our story, right? But if we so choose to put them, to share them with the world, they deserve to be heard. I said to her, just putting this on the table, but if you don't end up being able to share those stories with your family, you can let me know and I'll come downstairs and I'll bring a voice recorder and you can tell me your stories. And then, like water falling from my garden planters, she starts to share her stories. Right there. Garbage in hand, compost, stinky July, all the things. She just lets it run. It flows from her like water, and she starts to tell me about when she was a little, young woman fleeing her home country and getting on a train and crossing Switzerland and seeing the name Lausanne and feeling this sense in her gut. I think I'm supposed to get off here. After fleeing so much danger and having almost nothing in her pocket, she decided to make here her home. She's figuring herself out. She finds people. She probably had her own hopes and dreams for the Disney story, right? These are tales, unfortunately, tales older than they should be. I was going to say a thing about tale as old as time, but you know what? Fuck that. Like, if women have the chance to speak more, we'll tell even better stories, in my humble opinion. But anyway, she tells me about men who came into her life and said things along the lines of, "You don't have the courage to leave me." To which I believe that she must have responded with whatever the Greek version is of "hold my beer." Because she did her time, she waited it out, and on the day of her youngest child's 18th birthday, and not a single day later, she dropped the divorce papers in that man's mailbox and walked away and never tolerated him again. And it was like story after story after story after story after story of these experiences came out. And she even said something along the lines of, "I know I'm not the easiest person. And I think I became that person because of everything that had happened to me." And I realized a couple things. One is I realized that if I didn't practice giving people, even the ones that I'm not so, that are not my favorite, at least a little bit of space for consideration. Not all, right? We get to protect ourselves, but at least a little bit of emotional consideration, a little space for grace. I would run the risk of being the person, of becoming that angry person that I perceived, emphasis on the word perceived, her to be. Because I've absolutely discovered that she's so much more than her prickliness. Let's call it that. There's a really tenderness inside the prickliness that I think many of us get to have both of those things. They're both beautiful in a way if you spend enough time with them. And then I also realized that I'm doing exactly the right work and I should keep on doing it. So I plan on spending the rest of my life helping people tell their stories with more courage, so there's that. And lastly, I realized that garden tomatoes are not the only gifts from the gods. You can find really beautiful, unexpected friendships in surprising places. Even after you've pissed each other off. And those things are beautiful in their complexity. And because of that experience, I have decided, my brain decided to share with me a little musical ditty that I would like to share with you. I'll do that. I've been calling it in my head like structurally it's not, but it's like a musical limerick, something like, it's not, but I know we have poetry experts in the room, so this is it's just a thing, and I'm gonna share this thing with you. Why am I nervous? Don't do that. No, it's fine. Thanks, Laura. What if the gods in their infinite humor stuck together a millennial and a pretty tough boomer to teach them to try to let down their fists and listen, listen. For isn't it true that so much of our complicated glories can be shared with the world in the form of our stories, but only if we dare to put down our fists and listen, listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Cathlene. Oh, can we get another cheers for Cathlene? Now I saw tears in her eyes, so does anyone need one of these? Not yet? Okay. I love that story so much. I think that there is almost like a stat. Okay, how many people in this room live in Lausanne? Okay, shout, come on. You guys are too silent. Give me some shouts. So when Cathlene was sharing her story about her ways, the elevators, the pathways, I think that that's like, once you know how to get through this city without walking uphill, you have reached literally a new level of residency.
Hell yeah.
So thank you so much for that beautiful story. All right.